Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So a new bill that has support from both Democrats and Republicans would add anywhere between $8,000 all the way up to $17,000 in support for certain beneficiaries of Social Security. So we will be covering what is in that bill and the likelihood of it actually passing. Plus, we have a pretty cool story coming out of the University of North Carolina where a group of fraternity brothers said enough is enough, and there was actually a pro-Palestine rally going on where they were trying to tear down the American flag, and these fraternity brothers stood up for the American flag despite having rocks thrown at them and other items. So we will be covering that cool story as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $10,000 in free stocks or $10,000 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Moomoo. All you have to do is once you click on that link, is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least $100. At that point, Moomoo will be sending you up to 7 free stocks worth all the way up to $10,000. And if you really just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stocks, is just sell them for what they're worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so diving right into our lead story of today's video, and today that is Social Security. Well, this year we have a new bill that was released that would add anywhere between $8,000 to $17,000 in support for certain beneficiaries of Social Security. That would be SSI, so there are certain rules in regards to receiving SSI benefits, and that is that you have an asset limit of how much you can have in your bank account and other assets like that. And so for single individuals, the asset limit is $2,000. And for married couples, believe it or not, it is actually only $3,000, so it's not even double up $2,000, which really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So it really should be $4,000 for married couples, but instead it's only $3,000. Well, they're wanting to increase that because that has not been increased since all the way back until like I think it was like the 80s or something like that. Those asset limits were set that way, and they have not been updated despite all the inflation that's taken place over the past few decades, which is quite ridiculous. So they're wanting to change that up to $10,000 for individuals and $20,000 for couples. And we can see here, right here, what exactly is in the bill. So they say that White and Brown Cassidy announced first bipartisan bicameral bill in decades to update Supplemental Security Income Program. So today, U.S. Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden, who is a Democrat in Oregon, joined Senators Sherrod Brown and Bill Cassidy, a Republican in Louisiana, to announce the first bipartisan bicameral push in decades to reform the Supplemental Security Income SSI program, which has not been updated in nearly 40 years and currently punishes older and disabled Americans for saving for emergencies and their futures. The Senators' bipartisan SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act would update SSI's asset limits for the first time since the 1980s to ensure disabled and elderly Americans are able to prepare themselves for a financial emergency without putting the benefits they rely on at risk. The current SSI program punishes disabled and elderly Americans for working, saving for the future, and getting married. Right now, individuals receiving SSI benefits are limited to $2,000 in assets. For married couples, it's just $3,000. The average currently monthly benefit is $585 for individuals. For approximately 60% of recipients, SSI is their only source of income, and the Savings Penalty Elimination Act would raise those caps, which have not been changed since 1984, to $10,000 for individuals and $20,000 for married couples, and index them to inflation moving forward. Also, a study by JP Morgan Chase & Company suggests the current assets and income limits on federal benefits for people with disabilities create barriers to labor force participation in accumulating savings. Per the study, updating the asset limits for SSI, as the Savings Penalty Elimination Act would do, would expand economic opportunity and mobility for people with disabilities. So let me know in the comment section below what you think about that bill. Obviously, I think it's a great thing. These things should absolutely be updated. We should not have the same asset limits as what they had 40 years ago. Now, in our last story of today's video, we actually had a pretty cool story coming out of the University of North Carolina, where a group of North Carolina students in Chapel Hill stood up for the American flag. They said enough is enough. There was a pro-Palestinian rally going on, which is fine. You have your right to free speech. But then they started tearing down the American flag, throwing it on the ground, chants of death to America and all this nonsense. So this group of fraternity brothers, again, they said enough is enough, and they stood up for the American flag despite people throwing rocks at them and other things like that. And then after that, I guess they started a GoFundMe to support a party for what they did. And we had a billionaire investor in Bill Ackman. He actually gave $10,000 to them, according to The Hill. So according to The Hill, Bill Ackman donated $10,000 to a GoFundMe, raising money for fraternity members at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill to throw a party after they held up the American flag at a protest campus. The moment took place when pro-Palestinian supporters replaced the American flag with a Palestinian flag on campus Tuesday, causing skirmishes to break out with counter-protesters. Watch.
This is a Fox News alert. While campuses struggle to get control of their students, at UNC Chapel Hill, they are bringing order back. Students restoring the American flag and singing the national anthem after activists replaced it with a Palestinian flag. Here with reaction, Fox and Friends weekend co-hosts Pete Hegseth and Will Cain. Hey, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, Pete, since you fought for our country, I will start with you, even though I know you're very patriotic too, Will. But I wanted to start with you, Pete, because it's, on one hand, so exciting that finally, these Americans are praising America and doing the right thing. But how sad is that? That campus to campus to campus all over our country, they're replacing the flag with Palestinian flags. They are yelling, they hate America, wipe Israel off the map. But at this campus, they got it right.
Yeah, I mean, we should take heart and remember that the majority of young people, even still today, respect and love the country. I mean, this is a reflection of probably the majority of the campus of UNC. But our conversation is being driven by a very noisy, very powerful, very influential minority of people who simply hate the country. I mean, taking down the American flag and putting up the Palestinian flag is effectively saying, I reject the place where I'm being educated completely and all that it stands for. We should UNC should find those kids, by the way, and give them a study abroad semester in Gaza. You know what? You love Palestine so much. Go over there and hang with them for 6 months. See how you feel about the American flag when you come back. That's what every vet's experience. You see the other side, you understand how special what we have is. By the way, the chancellor came out and put the flag up with them, but they took it down later. They took it down because they didn't want it to be a controversy. So the flag went up for a second, but didn't stay up, and that's sad also.
Will?
Alternatively, I would say to you, Pete, they should also find those UNC frat bros and give them full scholarships to the University of North Carolina. The full story, Ainsley, is pretty fascinating in that they had already replaced the American flag with the Palestinian flag. These North Carolina frat brothers saw it, were upset by that, but the school administration at that time came out and re-raised the American flag, and everybody broke into the national anthem. But once the school administrators and school security left, then the protesters began to take down the American flag again, and that's when the guys stepped in and protected the flag. They said one of the frat brothers' name is Guillermo Estrada, Ainsley. He said that he and his brothers protected it for an hour. By the way, his parents, immigrants in the military. They protected the flag for an hour. They were pelted with bottles and rocks. But those are the type of Americans that I agree with Pete. Their love of country and their patriotism, I don't think are as rare as we want to believe. A lot of people love America, but what they should be celebrated for and what be more rare is their bravery, their willingness to stand up and exhibit that patriotism and protect America. That's a rarity. In my mind, that's the kind of student you want at North Carolina. You might as well give them a full ride and go Tar Heels.
So again, just a really cool story there. Nice seeing the American people stand up for the American flag. I think this is the common thing, but a lot of people just have fear of standing up, especially in these situations that could really, get dangerous. But it was great to see these young kids in college standing up for the American flag, be patriots. Certainly as a country, we aren't perfect. We have our blemishes. We've done bad things over time. But at the end of the day, this is a great country because we have the ability to speak freely. And in other countries, if we speak our minds and we speak freely, we might, be thrown in jail. We might even be killed. And in this country, it gives us that ability to practice whatever religion we want to, practice our free speech and other things like that. So that for that, we should definitely be celebrated. But that's all we have for today's video. I certainly hope you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. And I will see you in the next video.